All right, thank you, Doreen. That is the situation on our roads. It is 10 minutes to 8 a.m. We do hope that we have helped you in one way or the other to just try and ease the process of getting to your place of work or your place of business this morning. Now, we absolutely love to hear from you, so you can also let us know the situation where you are using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains at KBC Television. My handle is at Jane Wamboy, and my colleagues at Doreen Arange, at Ramaguko, and at Ray Manyara. That is how you can find us across all social media platforms, and SMS line back up and running. It is on the top right of your screen around this side. Yes, the number is 20154. That is 20154. It is up and running. You can also send us a message. Do let us know where you're watching us from, how you are enjoying the show, and if you have any questions in regards to the topics that we have here, and specifically this interview that we are about to get started with. So the SMS line is up on your screen. 20154 is the number. Start your message with the words GMK to help us better, get access to your messages and address them before we get to end this discussion for today. So right now, we want to go into matters to do with women in leadership. And, if you have any questions, once again, about women in leadership, especially here in Kenya, please feel free to send them through using our SMS line or the official hashtag on Twitter. And to help us with this discussion, we have with us Ms. Hadija Juma Nganyi, who is a women rep aspirant for Kakamega County. Karibu sana.
Asante.
We're glad you're with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
So we want to talk about women leadership here in Kenya. Women still remain as an underrepresented category in as much as sisi ndio wengi kwa population hapa Kenya, but we are still underrepresented, and want to look at some of those issues that are leading to this situation. And maybe we could start by tusikie safari yako imekuwa vipi as a woman. Let's talk a bit about when uliamua ku join this political scene even in the first place. Ilianza wakati gani?
Okay, my name is Hadija Nganyi Juma from Kakamega County. I got interest in politics when I was working with the government as a public servant, as a gender and social development officer some time back, because I was working with the community. I used to interact with the community, and I used actually to see some of the challenges that the community goes through, especially the disadvantaged groups like women, youth, persons with disability, older persons. So I was motivated. I felt that our political leaders are not doing enough, especially in terms of policies, because policies, I felt that if we had friendly policies to disadvantaged groups, at least we'll be able to solve these problems. And then we know that policies are usually made at our parliament. And it's only when you are an elected or nominated member of parliament, that's when you can be able to participate or contribute in coming up with friendly policies. So that's how it all started.
Ilikuwa mwaka gani?
That was 2007 there. Yeah, that was 2000, a long time ago. So I got interest in politics, and then I started interacting with some NGOs, non-governmental organization that deals with capacity building of women in politics and youth in politics. I started going through political leadership trainings. I've been trained by NDI. I've been trained by Young Politicians in Africa. I've been trained by Women Empowerment Link. So many organizations that are trying to train women on political leadership, so that at least we have skills. Once you enter into politics, you know what to expect. And then in 2013, in 2010, we got our constitution that introduced expanded the positions in political leadership, including the women rep position. And I was attracted to the women rep position because the main role of the women rep is to represent the disadvantaged in leadership or in parliament. So I felt that, considering my career and my passion for working with the community, that's a position that
be a very good opportunity.
I can do very well. So in 2013, I was still working in government, so in 2013 I didn't think about contesting. I still went ahead and worked for the community. And then in 2017, I decided that I'll go into politics. So I started preparing myself in 2015 and started doing things in the community, helping people and all that. So I joined politics. I went and contested for Women Rep Kakamega County. when I did that, you know, when you are outside politics, there are things that we assume. We just think that I'll go there, work for people, they like me, they'll elect me. But there are so many under issues within politics and especially political parties. In Kenya, we have these things of political waves in when you are contesting. So I felt in Western, where I come from, especially Kakamega County, there was this wave of ODM as a party, being a popular party. So when I consulted, I was told, you go and contest in ODM. So I joined ODM as a party, started being active within the party, doing women activities and all that. So I was recognized until I even got a position on the gender committee within the party to at least address issues of women within the party. I contested on that party, and during party primaries, that's when the reality of politics
started hitting home.
Yeah, started hitting me, because actually these political parties zina wenyewe, and people already, you know, I joined ODM when the system had already decided that their lineup, who will be the governor, who will be the senator, who will be the women rep, the position. So I was just there doing what I was doing best with the people in the community, and people really liked me, and they felt that at least this time we are going to have the right person to represent us. But unfortunately, when we went for the party primaries, I did not make it. What happened, as I told you, the system, our second deputy party leader in the party, who is our governor in the county, already had someone else in mind. And then he did everything that he could to make sure that this person gets the nomination certificate. There was the issue of bias of security. They favored my opponent. There was the issue of those returning officers, the clerks. They were, imagine me and you, we are competing on this party, and then you are the person who is assigned to bring on board the clerk, the returning officer, you know.
So everything was against you from the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. And then there was also the ballot, the issue of ballot paper stuffing. And so by the end of the day, I did not make it. And ODM headquarters really, they showed that they really felt bad, because according to their research, they knew that I was actually going to make it, because I was very popular among my people in Kakamega County. So when after nomination they were given someone else, they were like, "Aya, what happened?" Yeah. So I decided that that's about politics. So like when people move to other candidates will go as an independent or move to other parties. I didn't do that. I just got satisfied and said that I'll still campaign for the people within my party.
Now, let me just stop you there. At that point, you have done what you felt you could do the best to your ability. You were there for the people. You were looking out for the welfare of the people. But whatever happened, and you didn't get that opportunity. Didn't you feel like giving up and saying, you know what, I tried, but venye iko system is against me, so there's no point to continue with this journey? Did you want to give up at some point?
That feeling was there, but when you think about the people you wanted to represent, when you think about what you wanted to do for the people, that is what pushed me to never give up and move forward. And I appreciate that ODM as a party felt that I had that leadership qualities, and they felt that I actually needed to be somewhere. So after the party primaries nomination, according to the Elections Act, there's the nominations, the party nominations for MCAs, members of parliament, and all that. So ODM advised me that now that, actually they thought I'll go as an independent candidate, but I said no, I'll campaign for the people in the party lineup. So they told me that I'll get a nomination within the party. And when it came time for the procedure for nominations, the nomination application papers were advertised on the website. We applied, and then we went for the interviews, and then I was qualified on the list. When you apply, according to ODM policies, the NEC, National Executive Committee, they sit down and then they start going through. The women representative, the women league chairperson sits in the committee, the youth representative sits in the committee, and then they see who has been the women or youth who have been supporting us in this party, who have been active in this party. So they decided, they felt that I deserved to be nominated. So I qualified to be nominated as a member of county assembly. Actually, they asked me, now that you went for that upper seat, the women rep position, will you be comfortable? Yeah. I said, as long as it's a position that will give me an opportunity to serve people, I'm ready. So I qualified. According to Elections Act, the nominations, when they're coming up with the list of the nomination or the procedure, the party National Executive Committee comes up with the list that of those people who qualify, and then they rank it. I'm sure you understand the Zebra Party, and then they rank it from number 1 to number, maybe according to the number of wards. For member of county assembly, they give the number according to the wards within the Kakamega County. So Kakamega County, we have 60 wards, so they gave 60 names from number 1 to number 60. I was number 11 on the list within the Zebra Party list. Zebra Party list is there, they give the woman, man, woman, man, woman, man. So on that list, I was number 11. They forwarded the list to IBC. The person who was in charge, the chairperson of that committee that was in charge of nomination was Ogla, who signed and then forwarded the my names to IBC and other names. And then after the procedure, according to Elections Act, the procedure is after IBC receives names from political party, after 1 month, they publish these names in all newspapers, on their website, and they use all platforms to publish those names, so that if there's anyone who is not satisfied, who has any complaints, they are given some time to go to the tribunal and register their complaints so that the issues can be solved before.
In due time.
In due time. So when IBC published my name, no one complained. There was no one who complained. No one went to the tribunal to complain about my name. And then after elections now, IBC comes back to the list and then picks the name as per the ranking from the top up to how the party performed. Like if the party gets 2 MCAs, you qualify for 1 nomination. So in Kakamega County, we qualified for at least 14. So from number 1 to 14, I was number 11. So definitely I qualified to be nominated. So I was gazetted. And then they announced the date you are supposed to go and be sworn in. Surprisingly, when we went to be sworn in, when we were queuing just to go to be sworn in, I was removed from the queue, and I was told that there is a court order, I cannot be sworn in. So when I followed up, someone had gone to court and contested my nomination. Surprisingly, this person who contested for my nomination was never even on the party list. And you see, according to Elections Act, you can never be nominated if you are never on the party list.
And that actually, there was an article that was written on one of our local dailies that, you know, they were looking to have the ODM and IBC explain how it was an anomaly that you and someone else were gazetted, yet you did not even attend the nomination interviews. Now, on one side, we're hearing this story, and it's a different side on your end. Yeah,
it's good to hear from the horse's mouth. Actually, with the interviews, I attended the interviews in Kakamega County. Although the interviews are not part of the process or procedure of ODM policies when it comes to nomination. You apply.
Okay.
Like when they advertise the application paper, you apply to show interest that you want to be nominated. And then now the NEC sits down and goes through all the application. And then according to the party and how you have performed within the party, that's how you get to be nominated. And then there's my colleague who was also, whose nomination was also contested. He's called Changorok. He was nominated as a minority person within Kakamega County. According to ODM policies, they say that there are so many people who work for the party at the national level, and yet the party may not have strength to absorb them within the national, at the national level. So you find that these people have worked for the party, but when it comes to maybe rewarding them, there are few positions at national. So they came up with a policy that within ODM stronghold counties, the county will nominate or reward 70% of the locals, and then the party will forward at least 30% from the national level to that county. That's how Changorok came up to be nominated. So it was procedural, it was as per the policies and laws of ODM. And
what grounds did they tell you that, that resulted to your being disqualified from, even being you at the final stage where you are going to be sworn in? What were the disqualification grounds that they tabled against you? They
just said that I did not qualify, but they did not say how I did not qualify. And it is funny because that is if they felt that I did not qualify, if they felt that I had any maybe issue or they had any concern, they could have done it at party tribunal before gazettement. When IBC published our names, that's when they could have complained. Because actually, according to the law, if you don't complain at that point, then you don't have any mandate.
Forever hold your peace.
To complain after gazettement, because after gazettement this person is just supposed to be sworn in, and then if there are any complaints, maybe you can do it later. But it was the issue of power, people who have power in the parties in this country, and then they just oppress you. Yeah, that's what actually happened.
Now, is the fact that you are a woman who's trying to bring change and explore these leadership grounds, was it a factor that was used against you even after that point, moving forward with your leadership journey? Has the fact that you are a woman ever been used against you in leadership?
Now, with nominations, these nominations were about women. It was women and youth who were being nominated. But it's true, there are some things that there are so many challenges that women go through in political leadership. Like for me, for example, I'll say I faced a challenge at a personal level that sometimes I cannot talk about it on national media, but I feel that it was used. Yeah, there was an aspect of sexual harassment, if I just want to talk about, so that to help some women out there. There was the issue of sexual harassment, and I think it contributed to that.
It is one of the challenges that, even not just you, and you believe other women also out there face.
Yes.
And actually just yesterday we were having a discussion about sexual harassment in the media industry, and it is a problem that it still has a very tight grip, and not just almost all industries here in Kenya. Sexual harassment still remains to be one of the biggest challenges. We have the hospitality industry, which is actually at the forefront in terms of, the number of complaints that have been forwarded when it comes to sexual harassment. Now, when we look at women in leadership, you find that not so many women are willing to take up leadership positions. Number one, due to the fact that, we are underrepresented in itself, and there aren't enough women to speak about our issues. And number two, we just mentioned about sexual harassment. And let's just have a look at some of the other challenges that, have hindered women from, stepping up and taking up more leadership positions here in our country. When you look at our cultural setup, the way it is, we are such a patriarchal society. Do you feel that that has actually also contributed to the fact that not so many women are encouraged to take up leadership positions here in Kenya?
Yeah, it's true. Our cultural and social, the way we are socialized, it discourages so many women to take up leadership positions. And women, people argue that if women want to elect their fellow women, they can do so because they have the numbers. And it's not all about that, because yes, we have numbers, but how have we been socialized? I've grown up socialized to understand that it's a man who is supposed to be a leader, starting from our households. So when a woman comes to tell me that she wants to be elected or to be given a leadership position, I look at her curiously. In fact, in some cultures, you'll even say, now this is a bad-mannered woman, or why is she then doing this? And one of the things that I've also encountered and seen other women encounter in politics that hinders women participating actively in leadership, and not just political leadership, but general leadership, the issue of sexual harassment the issue of violence actually makes women shy away. I remember in 2013, there's this woman that I saw, she was so good, and I felt that if she gets this leadership position as a woman, she can do so well for our people.
Yeah.
And then when we approached her to try a political leadership position, she said, you see, I want to do it, but you have to talk to my husband first. If he agrees, then I'll accept. Then we went, because she was so good, so we felt that actually we need to support her, she need to come.
Yeah.
So we went and faced the husband and talked to him that, you see, we have seen your wife, she's so good, and this is how we feel. And then the husband just listened to us, and after we talked, when it was his time to say, he asked us, how many of you are ready to parade their women in politics? And you are like, yeah, that was a very difficult question. And then he justified. Look at so and so. Look at the way she has been abused. Look and so, I don't want my wife to go through such things. How will my society look at me when my wife is out there and she's being branded a prostitute? She's being branded a woman who has neglected the family. I don't want that. So kindly just leave my wife alone. So you find that we have so many good women out there who will want to go to politics, who will want to go to leadership. But what we see out there, it's actually not motivating. It's not even encouraging our brothers, our husbands, our fathers to encourage us or to free us to go to politics. So those are some of the challenges that our women face, and it's a reality. It's actually happening, and we need to sensitize and create awareness in our society, just to educate our people to understand that women can actually be there and just be good leaders without having to go through these challenges. And you find that and especially our leaders, I always say that our leaders need also to be role models, because you'll find that the few women who have also had courage to be there. You saw the other day, Honorable Milo Odhiambo, when she just went berserk because some men in parliament were harassing our women rep in Nairobi, Esther Passaris, because of what Sonko did. You see, they didn't even care whether it was true or not, but you can see the intimidation that she was going through. And then if Passaris is not a strong woman, she'll also be even discouraged to go to parliament because of the intimidation that she gets there. So I'll also want to call upon our leaders, especially our fathers, our brothers who are already there, to stop intimidating women. They need just to come out and be supportive, because maybe this today is not you. You are just looking at this woman as a woman, but tomorrow it will be your daughter whom people will do that to them. And I know every father, every brother, they always appreciate their sisters and their daughters. They will not want anyone to do that to them. So it should start with them. They should never even think about intimidating and harassing women on issues of sex.
Now, when we talk about leadership even in itself, I like that you have brought it up, and you know, those who are already in leadership, when you look at the women who are already in leadership positions and they have some form of power and they can be able to lift other women. You know, there's this narrative that has been always going around that, you know, a woman is another woman's biggest enemy. Do you feel like the women who are already in positions of power and can be able to uplift others, are they doing enough to bring up the next generation of women leaders, or they need to do more?
Okay, the narrative of saying that women are enemies of women, that's a stereotype that I've never agreed with, because women have been supportive of each other. We've seen someone like Rachel Shebesh, whom we are proud of as one of the strong women in Kenya, a strong women leader in Kenya. She was mentored by Honorable the name is just I'll remember, then I'll tell you. But she was mentored by a fellow woman who was in parliament, and they were actually not even in the same political party. I appreciate that personally, the women who have really guided me in my political journey, like Mama Phoebe Asio, she's been very supportive. Even Rachel Shebesh has been very supportive. There's a lady called Irene Wanyoike, she's been very supportive. Even Millie Odhiambo, she's been very supportive to me. And there are so many other women who are actually mentoring and coaching. Elizabeth Ongoro, I almost forgot about her, but she really held my hand in politics. So the women are doing a lot. Yeah, they're doing a lot, but it's just that the obstacles are so many, the challenges are so many. But I can assure you, even today, you look at Cecily Mbarire. Cecily Mbarire today, she's where she is because Governor Ngilu held her hand and walked with her through. And even today, Governor Ngilu still mentors Cecily Mbarire. So I appreciate our women who have been there before. They've held other women's hands, although they cannot hold everyone. Yeah, but at least they have someone they're mentoring, and I appreciate that. It's happening, and very soon. That's why today's parliament, we have quite a big number of
more
elected women. Yeah, 23 who are elected at the constituency level, and especially young women, because someone somewhere held their hand, and not just someone else, but their fellow women held their hand.
So this narrative, a woman is another woman's biggest enemy, is just a narrative that is being used to create an unnecessary antagonism among women.
Yeah.
All right, now looking at your journey in the political scene, what would you say have been your guiding principles that you have stuck by and you haven't compromised when it comes to your own set of personal values that have guided you along the journey, even from the first time when you contested for the women rep position? It went how it went, then came the MCA position, still didn't go your way due to issues that were not within your control, things already predetermined that you couldn't do much about, but you still kept at it. What were those guiding principles that held you down and helped you stay true to your course?
There's the issue of commitment. Once you decide that you want to do something, you just have to commit yourself. So commitment has always been my guiding principle. And then hard work. Like I told you earlier, especially young women, they go through challenges. They are tricked out there. You are tricked that, oh, maybe come do this and then I'll nominate you or I'll give you a certificate.
That compromise.
Yeah. And then once they're there, and that is something that we've seen happening at the county assemblies where so many women are nominated, and then people just call them flower girls. People just call them names. We've seen women being beaten because the men there, they don't really value them. It may be true or it may not be true that maybe they did something to be nominated or to get where they are today, but you find that now because there's that assumption. No, now these men, they don't really value them. So me, I've always believed that for me to get there, I just have to work hard. Hard work for me is a guiding principle, and I know if I work hard, I work smart, without having to go through shortcuts. Once I'm there, I'll be able to serve my people the way I feel they need to be served, and not to be intimidated by someone just because maybe they helped me get there. Yeah.
So commitment, hard work, and not compromising.
And not compromising.
Because when you compromise the first time, you'll find yourself compromising again. And it becomes a cycle that you cannot break.
Yeah, and then there's the issue of low self-esteem. Because if you did something and you get a position, you'll not feel like I actually worked hard to be where I am. Maybe I'm here because I did something funny to be here. So there's that low self-esteem, and you are not able to perform well.
All right. Now, when it comes to matters to do with the youth, the youth make up the greatest percentage of our population, and yet the percentage that suffers the most due to lack of mentorship, employment opportunities. What more do you feel as a woman leader needs to be done to just try and help our youth when it comes to molding them, especially to change their mindset and how we look at employment and going out to explore more entrepreneurial opportunities as opposed to just sitting there and waiting? As a woman in leadership, what more do you feel needs to be done towards this end?
I think mentorship is the key word, because I come from Kakamega County, which is rural, and it saddens me when I see young people coming from the rural, assuming that now they're coming to Nairobi where they'll get jobs. You find this youth comes from home where he lives a 4-acre piece of land, and then he comes to Nairobi to live in Kibera, maybe to sell mandazi. You see, if this youth will be mentored and coached well to realize that actually he can still live in the rural with that 4-acre piece of land and do ABCD that actually will help him or her to bring food on table and to have money in the pocket. I think that will really help our people. So I've always urged the government and the leadership of this country that we need to come up with tailor-made programs for different cadres of youth within our society, so that every youth can be accommodated. That these who are entrepreneurial, we can guide them, we can train them, we can make available funds to support their entrepreneurial activities. We have youth who have gone to school. We can ensure that we have employment enough for them to be employed. And then I always say that we have these youth who, and you know, in life we cannot always be equal. We have these youth who are never had an opportunity maybe to go to school. They were not blessed with the entrepreneurship skills or trades, but they have the energy to maybe to work. So you saw when we had the program of KKV. I'm sure, I remember when we had the Kazi kwa Vijana program where the youth used to do manual jobs. And actually the governor in Nairobi County is still using that program, whereby he reformed some youth who are engaged in crime, because not every youth who is engaged in crime, they're doing that because they want to. Life has pushed them. Yeah, the situation has pushed them to do what they are doing. So when we have like these manual jobs, we encourage them, we recruit them, and then we have such programs whereby these youth who cannot do business, who cannot be employed because they never went to school, but they have energy to maybe sweep or do some manual jobs so that they can be paid. So I think if we have tailor-made programs for different cadres for the youth, we'll be able to solve the issue of the youth unemployment in this country.
But also, on the other hand, are the youth stepping up instead of just waiting to be helped out in everything, waiting to be told, come do this, come do that, there's an opportunity here? Are the youth also stepping up to the table, or they ought also to do more?
Yeah, I urge our youth in this country to be proactive, to be involved, to be informed. Because actually in Kenya, when you are informed and you know what is happening around, you'll always get something to do. And when you are proactive, you will always be remembered. So I urge our youth to be proactive, to be informed, and just be involved. You know, when you are persistent, someone will say, nimechoka na huyu, wacha nimsaidie mara moja.
Somebody will notice your effort.
Yeah, someone will notice your effort. And with the persons with disability, I really appreciate, or I really like the way people with disability in Japan. Japan is one of the countries that has really done well with persons with disability. And one of the reasons they did that is that persons with disability in Japan, they are very proactive. For example, if we have a building, like in Kenya today, we have a law that says by 2015, all the buildings were supposed to be disability friendly.
Accessible,
but you walk today in our building, 80% of our buildings are not. But if you go to Japan, they have actually implemented that. And the reason they had to implement that is that persons with disability, especially physical disability in Japan, their way of being proactive, if they just notice a building, especially a building where a leader sits, is not disability friendly, maybe they don't have the ramps, they don't have these assistive devices for persons with disability, they just mobilize themselves and sit there, camp there for days until you do what they want.
Do something about it.
So being proactive actually can help our women, our youth, or persons with disability issues be addressed. Yes. And
there's someone here on Twitter who's saying, Alexa is saying, you know, nothing comes on a silver platter. So go and work hard and smart, and your personality shall always defend you, even when things are not going the right way and they're going just the other way. Just echoing what you're saying, you know, don't just sit there and wait. You need to step up to the plate. be hardworking. Don't just expect everything to come your way and say thank you for that. Even if it comes your way, you'll not be able to sustain it, because what is not earned doesn't last long. Now, when it comes to your leadership, what is the one thing or a few number of things that you'd like to remember, to be remembered for, even post your leadership era? You would like the people to remember Hadija did this, and we thank her for that.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on the tweet before I go to what you have asked me.
From Alex.
From Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to urge women, there are so many challenges that we go through in leadership, but that should not stop our vision. That should not stop our passion, what we want to do for our people. I went through what I went through, and I'm still doing something for my community until people look at me and they're like, wow, where do you get this energy? But because I have that passion to help my people, I started a program in Kakamega County. When I was campaigning, everywhere I will go, women will talk about challenges of water in the community. I'm not holding any public position today, but I initiated a program where I do water wells for the community, just to ensure that our women have access to clean water.
Yeah.
So as we move, people are seeing that at least Hadija is doing water projects for us. So when it comes to 2022, because I'll still go back to them to ask for the women reposition, the county MP position in Kakamega County, they'll always associate me with the projects that I've been doing. Yeah. So even if you don't make it in politics, when you are going or you are contesting, you don't make it, doesn't mean now that you just throw your hands and decide to go and sit there. So that is something that I've always been doing for our people in Kakamega County, and I'm sure that's something that they'll remember me with. I'm also doing something with persons with disability. I assist them with assistive devices, because I believe that disability is the environment you create for these persons with disability. And if they have these assistive devices, for example, if a person with physical disability has a wheelchair, they can be able to even move around themselves
by themselves,
and then by themselves, and then engage in different activities, business, or do something else to support themselves. So that's what I'm also doing for persons with disability. And I'm a sociologist by profession, and social issues have always been key to me. So I've always been addressing the issues of cash transfer, because the older persons cash transfer, persons with disability cash transfer, orphans and vulnerable children cash transfer. We appreciate the government have that program in our community, but there are so many challenges that these people are still facing. You find that now when the government transferred, as we are speaking now, the payment is going on the ground. But you find that when an older person goes to be paid, they find that the system, when they transferred when they changed the payment mode, initially they used to be just paid by agents, but now they were asked to register to open bank account with such identified banks with the government, and now they are going to be paid. So when they introduced this new system, most of them were left out. So no one is talking about it. So those are some of the things. When I get a platform, I talk about them so that the government knows that kuna huyu mzee ambaye alikuwa analipwa pesa, alikuwa amepata hii pesa ya wazee, lakini saa hizi kwa sababu wamebadilisha system, jina yake imetolewa kwa system. What is the government doing about such an older person, such a person with disability, such a guardian to an orphan in the community?
All right. And you know, in recent times, we have really been talking about women empowerment, empowering the girl child. Are we sort of also forgetting the boy child? Because that's also a debate that has been brought on the table, that in as much as we are empowering women, are we also equipping these young men for these empowered women?
Yeah, it's true. Personally, I've also felt that, but until we have statistics that actually the boy child is left behind, we cannot authoritatively talk about it. But I've always encouraged women and our leaders that if we want to address the gender issue, the gender equality issue, we need to make our children, our boy child and our girl child, feel that they are equal from the beginning, so that their
from the household,
so that we improve their relationship. And if we improve their relationship, when they grow up, the boy child will respect the girl child will respect the boy child, and will never see the issues of gender disparities. There's this program of sanitary towels to schools. It's a good thing, but I always tell leaders who are doing that, fine, our girls are going through the challenges, they need the sanitary towels, we need to support them. But when we are doing that, how is the boy child feeling? When we go to a school, give a girl child a present, and you know, this boy may not even understand what is that we have given to this girl. Wengine wanaita mkate, wasichana wamekuja shuleni wamepewa tu mkate peke yao. What are you creating in the mind of this boy child? So I always urge our leaders that when we are distributing sanitary towels to our girls in school, let us have an alternative present also for the boy child. We can even give them football, we can even give them the undergarments, we can give them maybe geometrical sets, something so that they also feel appreciated. They don't just feel that it's only the girl child who has been supported.
And they're left behind.
Yeah.
Especially at that young age, because they don't really understand that, you know, we're not just giving them pads because it's a gift. It's a need.
Yeah.
But the other boy at the same age, they don't understand, which I think would be a great idea in terms of even just helping them understand, you know, these things happen and it's not foreign. It's not abnormal. So when they grow up understanding some of these things, it will go a long way in even changing the mindset when they're all grown.
Exactly.
Now, as we bring the conversation to a close, maybe what would you like to just advise our youth out there? Let's start with the youth, our women in leadership, and the government as a whole in terms of helping build the nation together, because, you know, we cannot grow as a nation while leaving one part of the population behind. When we have an empowered youth group, we can move forward. When we have an empowered women group, we can move forward. When persons with disabilities are empowered, we can all move forward as a nation.
Our youth, I just want to urge our youth to be proactive, to be informed, and to be involved from onset. They should not just be waiting for things to happen and then they start complaining that we have not been involved. So they need to be proactive. With our government, let us start by implementing gender equality laws. Our constitution talks about the 2/3 gender rule. It's not an option, it's a constitutional right.
9 years later, it's still
9 years. You know, you've asked me to summarize, but it's sad that 9 years later, our parliament has not been able to come up with an act of parliament to give us a formula to get to the 2/3 gender rule. But now there's a member of parliament who is bringing, who has time to create a bill to come and say that people should not be supported in fundraising. Fundraising should be banned. I think that's not a priority. We need to come up with an act of law that will give us a formula that can ensure that we have gender representation in parliament and all spheres of leadership. And then for my fellow women, I always tell women that whichever position you hold, however small it is, just make sure you deliver, because everyone is watching, and they'll always use you as an example. When another woman is coming up, they'll always use you and say, so-and-so was here, she performed so well. So if this woman is coming, she can also perform well. But if you don't perform well, then you'll be spoiling for every other woman that will come.
Now, now that you have mentioned, you know, before you actually get to wind up, this whole question of the 2/3 gender bill, why is it considered as a woman thing? Yet it is not just about women, it's about having balanced numbers when it comes to representation. Why do we have this mindset that it's just a women thing?
Yeah, I think it's because women have been talked a lot about it. So in fact, so many people think that gender is woman. They don't know that gender is both men and women. And when we talk about gender representation, we've seen that the formula that has been used is nominations. And most people that are nominated are women. And most people that are nominated, when they get that chance, they're actually not performing very well. So that's why you find that people are not very keen on having the gender representation because they assume that it has to be nomination. But there are so many other formulas that can be used without having nominating women. Like, for example, the South African formula, where they just elect parties. You elect parties because the party provides a zebra party list, and then you elect parties, and then by the end of the day we have equal representation of men and women. In Rwanda, they have a formula where you elect a man and a woman in every constituency, and then by the end of the day we have 50-50 representation of women. So people should not think that when we are talking about gender representation, we are just going to nominate women as they have branded women slay queens, and then when they go there, they feel that they are not performing. So, but if they use a good formula where women will have that opportunity to be elected, you know, when you are elected, you feel you have a responsibility behind
as opposed to being given.
As opposed to being nominated. So let them try that formula where women will be given a chance to be elected, and then they'll see how they will be able to perform.
All right. And come 2022, you will still be going for the women rep position?
Yeah, I'll still be going for women rep position, and if there's anyone watching from Kakamega County, kindly support me for that position.
All right.
Thank you.
So all the women in Kakamega County, you have heard her. She's there for you, not just for any personal gains. It's about, when you're in leadership, it's about leading by example and being there for the people, not to, you know, benefit yourself in one way or the other that you think you so deserve by holding that position. Well, we have been speaking about women in leadership, and we have been speaking with Hadija Nganyi Juma, who is a women aspirant for Kakamega County. Come 2022, she'll be vying for the same position. Just from her journey, you know, she started off with the women rep position. It did not go her way, went for the MCA position, was at this level of being sworn in, but due to some issues here and there, dirty politics, predetermined leaders, she also lost out on that position. But that did not deter her from continuing to be there for the people and serving the people, which is what leadership is all about. Don't just be at the forefront dictating how things should be done. Be at the forefront, showing how things should be done. Thank you so much for being with us. We wish you all the best in your journey.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Asante.
Karibu sana. Now, Good Morning Kenya does continue. We want to take a quick commercial break, but please do continue talking to us. The hashtag ever remains hashtag Good Morning Kenya. My handle is Jane Mamboy. My colleagues at Dori Narange, at Ramaguko, and at Remanyara. That is how you can find them across all social media platforms. Our official station handle ever remains at KBC Television, and our SMS line is up and running. It is on the top right of your screen. That is 20154. 20154 is the number. Once again, start your messages with the word GMK just to help us get your messages. We can be able to read them and address them as we proceed on with the show. So keep talking to us. We will see you after this break. Don't go anywhere.
There is one place at Kenya Broadcasting Corporation which is little known. It is tucked away in the basement of the KBC complex, yet it holds a special place in the history of the broadcasting in Kenya. This is the audio library at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. The Attic Library is the biggest in East and Central Africa and serves as the nerve center of broadcasting in Kenya. On People Like Us today, I took a walk down the hall to the radio production department with Mr. Kirui, the head of libraries, who is about to hang his boots. Radio is one of the key departments that are served by the audio library. As head of libraries, Kirui was personally responsible for assisting the radio department to meet their audio needs. Kirui managed to make friends with employees in the radio department. Anne Lemayan, a long-serving producer and presenter at KBC English Service, says that Kirui is very supportive and easy to work with.
He's always soft-spoken, always smiling. He has a permanent smile on his face and very helpful. He actually takes the library as his, baby, and is very protective about what is there, the archives and everything.
A professional, a friend, and a caring gentleman. That is how colleagues know Kirui. Topista Nabusola, a senior radio producer, says she cannot think of KBC without Kirui.
He's exiting at a very critical time, a time when we have had that transition from analog to digital, and he leaves his team, I'm sure has groomed his team to be able to continue with the transition.
Many colleagues have found Kirui to be very resourceful. Kirui, on his part, is willing to share his vast knowledge with his colleagues. Ms. Concepta Buyai Erastus, who has worked with Kirui for the last 30 years, tells us how it has been working under him.
Maybe the final thing we will say that we've really worked together and we've done a lot together. And he has left a lot of knowledge behind. And actually I've inherited the office plus the knowledge together for the last 30 years we've been together.
The end of one era is the beginning of another. This is a belief held by Violet Mwanzambuvi, aka Shangazi, the manager of Mwatu FM.
The position for the music that we need through the computer, it is wired to us through the computer, it is taken to our studio through the computer, and now we can play our music. It's no longer like we used to have those papers with books. We go and requisition, there are 3 copies. The first copy is yours, is for the library. Second copy is for the library for archiving. The third one is yours that you use.
Kirui, who started off as an intern at the libraries, has risen through the ranks to the helm of the libraries department.
God has given me strength all this time. For the last 39 years, I've been working with the same office. But I rose from a library trainee to the current position I'm living at the acting principal librarian.
Kirui has seen different political regimes come and go. He has seen how they have influenced broadcasting in Kenya. As head of libraries, he is the custodian of audio and video materials that characterize these regimes. With the profound technological changes taking place in the world of information, Kirui, who is a veteran of library materials and library operations, has played a huge role in transitioning the vast analog library materials to digital form.
The equipment in the broadcasting studios actually changed. So for us, we had to follow that because in the studios it is digital or everywhere. But for us, we have the two. So the process now of actually converting all this material to digital and they are actually put online to the studios is now the current thing that we are doing.
Many young people may not know the difference between analog broadcasting and digital broadcasting.
Analog broadcasting, as far as library was concerned, was actually the issuing of the physical items to the studios. You take a tape to the studio, you take a gramophone record to the studio. The studio had actually all the playbacks. I think that's the difference. Right now, those formats are in the library, but the studios have actually completely changed. Everything is just computer. Actually, is actually playing analog. We are playing the digital formats.
It's actually more preferable to use digital than analog. But then with analog, it was intimate because you get to